The racial tensions within Europe and the Western world is at an all-time high. And in today's video, I'm going to explain to you why this is happening. Number one, the government needs the racial tensions for their communistic future. You see, the Western governments realized for us to solidify a 2 to 3 party state where we just have a rotation of controlled politicians, we need to bring in people that are going to vote for us, because our people from our lands are not voting for us anymore. They've lost all faith. So we need to bring people in to solidify a 2 to 3 party state, giving the illusion of democracy. And this was a genius idea. Now, they've been doing this in England since the 70s. In Ireland, it's been going on quite some time too, but it's been the mass migration has been rapid, more so over the past 10 to 15 years. But all European and Western nations are going through this, and it's solely down to keeping the corrupt in power. And I also have to state, I've had very few negative incidents with anybody from a different country or of a different colour. So for me, that's proof and evidence that we're going through a psychological operation. I meet people on a daily basis from different countries that have came to Ireland to work, and they're 100% decent, good human beings, and we have good conversations. So if I'm a person that's out there in the big bad world speaking to lots of different people on a daily basis, and I have very few negative experiences with people from different countries, then it's obvious that there is a play at a hand here. You see, if you look at Keir Starmer, for instance, he turned around and said, to stop this illegal immigration, we must bring in digital IDs because it's going to stop people coming in. They're going to have an ID. We're going to have to vet them for who they are, what they've done in their past life in a different country. And here's why that's the biggest pile of bullshit. Number one, we don't know who a lot of these people are. There's lots of theories around where some of these people go to in Britain and Ireland and Europe, and what is their real purpose. We know a lot of them are Islamists that have came in with that type of ideology. However, a lot of them aren't. We don't know about them. So give them a digital ID and we still don't know who they are. Now they've got a clean record and they've got a clean slate, and they can, if they're good people, great. But if they're bad people, then they can come in and with a clean slate, with a clean identity, and nobody knows who they are. So it doesn't really work, if you ask me. But the real reason is problem, reaction, solution, what David Icke said. He first came up with this idea. The government creates the problem, you're the reaction, you're the emotional reaction, and the government brings in the solution, digital IDs. Now, the real reason for the digital IDs is for their social credit score. They want the social credit score because they see the way the internet's going. They don't have control of the narrative anymore. We're destroying the narrative. They've lost control of the narrative, and they understand that their corruption is for everybody to see. It's right in everybody's face, and they don't like that, especially with the introduction of the internet and social media. So if they bring in a social credit score like China, then more people are going to toe the line. Now, that's just one of the things that they're trying to implement with this problem reaction solution that is going to inhibit people speaking their minds. We're seeing that with two-tier Keir locking people up for tweets, locking people up for political opinions, while rapists and pedophiles get very little time in prison. It doesn't make sense. The crimes don't fit the punishment. Now, a lot of this is done through feminism, corrupting the youth, the young ladies and young men to believe a certain thing that is untrue, sort of mixing up the roles of men and women. This is also spearheaded with transgenderism, even though that, if somebody's a transgender person and they're an adult, 100% fine. But there's a targeting of the youth with transgenderism, where we see 2 and 3 year olds being corrupted by whack job parents that have fed into this ideology to corrupt their little brains. And if enough of them do that, these champagne socialists and these communists understand that in the future that these people will be more pliable. Plus, it's an extinctionist attitude to basically sterilize the youth so we don't have a population in the future, and then we have a reason to bring in more people. So it's a multi-varied reason why they're doing this, and that would be my opinion on it. So it's not about people being black or brown. There's black people and brown people that are living in Europe longer than some white people. That's a fact. So it's not about black and brown people. All nations need to be respected, whether that be Africa, Indonesia, all the continents, all the countries, all the nations need to be respected. And that's why they're calling you far right for having nationalistic views. But they also want to absolutely decimate the economy. Here, just in Ireland, I can speak about this. They want to, these champagne socialists that have got their Taylor Swift degrees, want to drive out all big business and leave everybody in a financial situation where they don't have a job, they can't pay the mortgage, and there's going to be another recession. So they can sweep in and say, look, it's the banks, look, it's the politicians, we're here to save the day with our communism. That's what they want. You're not going to go hungry with us. Just so happens communism has killed more people than anything on earth, but not their form of communism, not their form of communism. You see, that's how the communist brain works. So that's why there's racial tensions within Europe right now. It's specifically designed for an emotional reaction from yourself, so you accept tyrannical control in your life. And you need to understand this. So whenever you're driving down the street and you're looking out the window and you see somebody that doesn't look like you, don't have hatred or bitterness towards that person. You know, it just so happens since the introduction of the aeroplane and even, cheap flights, there's been migration all around the world. Irish, English, Americans, Africans, and everything in between. And that's not going to stop for the foreseeable future. So we need to understand that. But what's happening now is there is a crackdown on nationalism. To have a nationalistic viewpoint on your country is considered far right. These champagne socialists, these college-educated leftists want you to believe that you must be a self-loathing white liberal to be nationalistic, and that's not the case. And even here in Ireland, we're seeing that, where you've got these individuals who are saying it's to do with colonization. Well, Ireland wasn't involved in colonization. Yes, but you're white and you're connected to colonization, so you must accept mass migration. Even though Ireland has got a population under 8 million, we've never recovered from the famine. And our demographic, our culture, our heritage can change with even just the small introduction of people. And that's what we're seeing today. Individuals coming in, sitting in hotels, being given everything while people are out there working to keep them in hotels. It doesn't make sense. So it's not about black and brown people. You shouldn't be racist by any stretch of the imagination, but you should be nationalistic in your view that it's not okay to house thousands of people in hotels on the taxpayer's expense just because you're white. That doesn't make sense at all. But we must respect all the hard-working individuals in the country, regardless of their colour and religion. Hopefully that makes sense.